Hi, Gemini. This is Jeffrey. This is Red Color. This is the October reading. So the sun is coming out. That's my little message because the sun is literally coming out. So there's no mistake when things, whatever. The sun is coming out. So it's going to be something is illuminated and something becomes clear in the midst of the fog. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, press the bell for notifications. This is the October reading for Gemini. I'm wearing my Libra t-shirt because it's October. So I have astrology t-shirts on my website. All the information is below. I have one-of-a-kind t-shirts. I have textiles, redcolor.com. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, press the bell for notifications. I offer one-on-one readings. I offer IET, which is a healing modality. And I can also do personal readings in person. I'm in Midtown Manhattan. My information is below. Let's see what's going on for October for Gemini. Oh, okay. So this is interesting. This is the card of the past. This is Temperance. Temperance is all about balance. It's about sobriety. It's also healing, this tremendous healing. So I think you've been contemplating this healing of the past, and I think it's coming to fruition. That's what's going on. It's a change in the way that you see the past, a change. It's almost like there's a new balance being achieved or made manifest. You know, sometimes we think about things, you know, or we carry old thoughts or old memories around. And then, you know, one day it's sort of like the sun shines, right? One day it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to get rid of it. Yeah. You know, and then, you know, you'll meet a friend and they'll say, what happened to that coat you used to wear all the time? It's like, oh, I got rid of it. It's like, yeah, but you wore that coat for 30 years. Yeah, it was time for a change. It was time for a change. Yeah, I want something new. I need to move forward. I've healed. I've healed. That's the way it feels. And I'm ready to like go out and see the world. I'm ready to go out and do new things and experience something exciting and creative and passionate. And yeah, it's almost like a weight was lifted. It's like a weight was lifted. Yeah, and you know, you were there for a long time. You sat there for a long time, you know, sort of on the fence, but you're still holding on to something that you needed, that, you know, you weren't ready until you were ready. You know, there's no point in saying, if only I'd done it 10 years ago. You did it when you did it. Sometimes it's interesting with this card, right? So there's a sense of balance in this card, but it's also sometimes it's the crossroads. But the other thing about this card is like, sometimes all you need to do is just drop it. Drop it so you could take off your blindfold and like see what's around and say, oh, I don't remember it like that, especially if you're sitting by the sea, right? So you're sitting by the sea and the sea changes constantly. It's always changing. So if you were to go to the beach at say, whatever, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you put on blindfold, which is an odd thing to do at the beach, but let's make believe. You put a blindfold at the beach and you sat there for a couple of hours and you felt the breeze and, you know, maybe a little crab nipped at your toe and you felt the sun and, you know, you heard people jumping and running in the water. And then you took off your blindfold, say 3 or 4 hours later, the water would be in a completely different place, right? The water is in a completely different place. Maybe it's rougher, maybe it's more smooth, maybe the sun has changed, maybe the dune has moved to somewhat, especially if you're on a big drama beach. So it's sort of like, just drop the weight and see things in a new light. The light of abundance, the light of creativity, the light of fertility, right? There's a healing aspect to her too. There really is. There's a real healing aspect to Venus, basically. And it's Venus's month because she rules Libra. There's a healing to her. She's so abundant. This is like, certain people have this, well, it's not only certain people. I think we're kind of socialized to think, well, the fountain only gives out so much water and I better go get mine because, and I better cut online and knock everyone else out of the way because there's only so much. Like, that's not really the way it works. The way it works is like, it just keeps giving and giving and giving and giving and giving and giving. That's the way it works. You can manifest anything you want. But, this is about taking leadership. This is about taking responsibility, taking leadership, taking the bull by its horns. This is also really about, well, for me, with this card, a lot of times, this is really about stating out loud, I am. It's not so much I want, because that denotes that you don't have it. I am powerful. I am abundant. I am at peace. I am creative. Whatever comes up for you. And you're willing to what I think you're willing to sacrifice is the past. This is a willing sacrifice, right? And he puts himself on the tree, and he sacrifices being seen in a certain way. He sacrifices other people's light. He's going to the spirit. He's going to the spiritual realm to like experience it. So, but there's a sacrifice involved with this. But sometimes, it's like we think we're giving up something that, we need to hang on to. And once you let go of it, it's like, oh my God, I didn't realize how heavy that bag was. It's like walking through life with this overstuffed knapsack. And once you take it off, you realize it's like, I don't really need anything in there. Like, oh, this is what it's like to be able to roll my shoulders. This is what it's like to do jumping jacks. Definitely. Look, the past is behind you. The past is behind you. You're ready to see something new. There was a real healing going on here. There was a tremendous healing going on here. Tremendous. And I think you really kind of went and asked like your higher self for help. And look, when I describe it, it's sort of like, oh, well, you're walking around with this knapsack for 100 years, that weighs 1,000 pounds or something. And then you take it off. It's like, oh, sometimes these processes, it's like, it's a little bit slow motion, sort of like, oh, it's a little bit. So I feel like the whole, seems like that for the reading, like the whole month is going to be like that, so let's say, my metaphors. Let's say I was interested in a certain topic, right? And I had a whole shelf in my bookshelf that was dedicated to that topic. And then I wasn't interested anymore. It didn't serve me anymore. Or maybe I had a friend who was really interested in it. And it's like, well, I have these books. So you just empty that shelf and you don't fill it up right away. Now you go to a bookstore, hopefully like a used, fabulous vintagey bookstore, right? I'm a romantic. And it's like, well, what am I interested in? Am I interested in architecture? Am I interested in history? Am I interested in making things? Am I interested in cookbooks? Am I interested in gathering stories? Maybe I want to fill it with some pretty vases. Maybe I want to start like a little ceramic collection or a glass collection, or maybe I'll put some plants in there. So I feel like this month is really about emptying it and kind of staring at the empty bookshelf, so to speak. Say, let's see. Let's see what comes. Because I'm on my quest. I'm on my spiritual quest. So I think it's going to come to you, because especially if you're sitting, this is a pause. The other thing about, I didn't realize that about this reading is like this card symbolizes pause. It's, and this one also was a bit of a pause. Sort of like, I'm going to gather myself for a little bit. And then when I feel up to it, I'll get up out of my chair and discover what it is, the next step is, or the next thing that's interesting to me is. And I think what I'm also feeling is sort of like when you go to this bookstore, I'll meet you there. You go to 5 or 6 or 8 sections and you pick up a book from each. And then you see if it's interesting to you. And if you're buying it at a used bookstore, like let's pretend it's old time, because like now used books could be a fortune. But, it's like it's $3 or $5 or $8. It's like, well, this is interesting. And then you buy it and you put it on the shelf, and then you'll see if it really calls you. Right. So I think it's a time of experimentation. That's what I think. I think it's a bit of a experimentation. It's sort of like, well, I'm interested in flowers, and I'm interested in traveling, and I'm interested in food, and I'm interested in fabric. Well, of course you are, etc. Like, well, I'm interested in philosophy. Like, oh, pick up a couple of books and thumb through them, and it's like that, like that. And whatever seems interesting to you, you should pick up and maybe purchase it, and then see where it leads you. See where it leads you. It's like, here's Johnny. The spirit will reveal to you. The spirit will reveal to you what it is. Very interesting. I'm going to leave it at that. So, walk around in that bookstore. Walk around in that bookstore. And sometimes the whole experience of the bookstore was maybe the exchange you have with the cashier. Maybe the whole experience of the bookstore is that you were inside the bookstore while a big rainstorm came. Sometimes it works like that. Got me? Okay. So now that you don't have all this extra luggage to carry, it's almost like you go to the airport, pretend things were normal, and you say to yourself, I'm feeling the letter P or the letter M, and whatever place that comes up on the thing that begins with a P or an M, I'm going to. Okay? A little bit like that. Either I'm going to go to Paris or Madrid, or I'm going to go to Phnom Penh, or I'm trying to think of a good M. I'm thinking of a city. Montevideo. There you go. Who knows? Blessings. Have a lovely month.